your serious one.
Yeah.
So joining you live from the World Championship 2023 in Barcelona, the Living Legend podcast.
What up? I've been recording for the last 7 minutes, so you can just fire it off whenever.
Yeah. Well, then we will. Welcome, everyone, to yet another episode of the Living Legends podcast. This is your weekly one-stop shop for everything related to the world of the Flesh and Blood trading card game, as produced by Legend Story Studios. Shout out James White, good pal. Anyway, I am Bill.
Coming to you live
and
from
the Living Legends.
Well, Barcelona. Coming to you live.
Everybody would have just heard that too. So
yes, they would have. Yeah.
So I am the host for today. My name is Bill, and joining me as always are my two lovely co-hosts. We'll start alphabetically with Az.
Yeah, so I'm Az from Go Again Gaming. If you're a Ranger player or Ranger sort of aficionado, you would have seen the spoiler over the weekend. Which I'm glad to have just got out there, and it seems to be, we'll speak about it later, but it seems to be quite a polarizing one because of the fact that it needs an aim counter to do the thing. That is quite polarizing.
What isn't polarizing these days in Flesh and Blood? Like I swear to God, every spoiler card, no matter how much of a banger it is, someone's always like, but it's not so good in this matchup. It's basically like the dice to removal equivalent from Magic. I swear it just pops up every card. Hi, by the way.
Yeah. Also, next in alphabetical order, we also have Kel, also known as ZONE ROGUE.
Hello. Yeah. I think Judge Judy is a fantastic card. So I'm just putting that out there.
I think that's the first alter that Jasada Suthi is probably going to do. Somebody's going to be like, "Hey, this is a weird question."
Yes.
How do you do Judge Judy?
Yeah, y'all know Judge Judith Scheindlin. Anyway,
I like how you know her whole name.
Of course I do. My parents were obsessed with Judge Judy.
Yes.
We had this was back in the day of getting DVD best of compilations.
Oh no.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, they got one for Christmas and we watched it pretty religiously. It's pretty funny. There are some, it's like anything. There are bad episodes. There are also some really good episodes. I really wanted to just start telling stories about Judge Judy, but that is not why we're here today. So what we are here to do today, it is relatively, I don't know, it feels like it was a slower week, but I don't know that that's necessarily true, because first and foremost, we've gotten some more spoilers for heavy hitters. We also have a few spoilers that have been out for a while that we just haven't had really a chance to talk about yet. So I think that's just what we're going to be doing today. We're going to go over what's currently been posted up on Fabrary. Shout out Fabrary, excellent resource. They have a really great tracking page for spoilers as they get released. Big fan. I use it every time. Whenever we're talking about spoilers. So
my video is currently on the front page of their website.
Yes. Yeah. So might as well, honestly, shout out as spoiler video for a banger of a card. I'm a big fan. Like Kel said, though, it is polarizing. I think just because people in the Flesh and Blood community like discourse. They just like talking, And
That's
I mean,
fine.
I can't really judge because that's literally what I'm doing right now. So
we are talking, yes.
I also for people that haven't watched it, go and watch the video. It's only 3 minutes long, and it's just like a skit. It's it's not like a video that goes into all the deep mechanics of the card. And I feel like that was a good thing for me not to do, because I love the fact that the internet has just got on it and was like, "Oh, it's great. Oh, it's garbage. Oh, it's good." I didn't go into any of the mechanics of what you can and can't do. And I don't know, you said you were doing a video on a couple of the cards that are released, Kel. Did you go into ways you can play with it and stuff, or?
A little bit. I just gave my general opinion, talked about how if you are running aim counters at all, it is a must-have windmill slam. And if you're not running aim counters, then you don't play it. I mean, it's pretty, to me at least, fairly cut and dry. Can you make aim counters? If the answer is yes, then you play it. If you don't, then you don't. Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
And obviously.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I mean, if we're speaking about it now, we can speak about it now, I guess, because obviously we're on the thread. But
all right, here, let me pull it up. There we go. Pull it up.
Yeah.
Hold on. I was like, oh, we're gonna do our weekend fab first. Have a minute to prepare. I have it up. It's up.
Nah.
There we go. There's Judge Judy and Executioner with like actually amazing artwork. The artwork reminds me of like some sort of like avant-garde or like indie band album cover or something. It looks so cool.
Yeah.
I dig the stark contrast. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. Well, in fact, just go watch Az's video on it. But it uses a lot of like blacks and reds and whites.
Yeah, very
really cool.
high contrast style art.
I dig it.
You know what? Because it's his card, I think it would be a disservice to get anybody else other than Az to talk about it. So why don't you give us the rundown? What is Judge, Jury, and Executioner?
Well, it was my card. I was, I had the power for the longest time. I knew what it was, and nobody else did. But it's everybody's now. Everybody can use it. Everybody can abuse it. So yeah, Judge, Jury, and Executioner. So this is 1 cost, 3 block, 5 attack. Legendary Azalea Specialization, which means you can only have 1 in the deck, but it is a majestic, not a legendary rarity. And it just says, if this has an aim counter, it gets, when this hits a hero, they discard all but 1 card from their hand. So yeah, extremely powerful if you can get the aim counter off. But a lot of the discussion on the internet at the moment is, can you run this in Death Dealer builds? Because that's where all the optics are at the moment. I mean, Brody just won the Realm 20k with Azalea with a Death Dealer list, which was a lot, a lot of the fat was trimmed off. It was mainly a red and yellow heavy deck. There wasn't many blues. The Bolt and Shots, yellow and blue, were both cut from the list, which is normally a 3 of, for the longest time. There's only red Bolt and Shots in there now. E-strikes have been taken out. Yeah, so that's a whole other thing, really. I'm sure there'll be a video somewhere of someone going through that list with Brody, I expect. But yeah, this is awesome. I want to see people picking this up and playing with it. And as Kel said, if you're doing aim counter things, it's just a slam dunk. If you're not doing aim counter things, Death Dealer builds do have the ability to put aim counters on things. Yeah. And before we get into this conversation, one of the things I was going to say is, one of my favorite cards from, what was it? Dynasty was a card called Point the Tip. It's janky as hell, but it just says your next arrow attack, your next face-up arrow attack gets +3, 2, or 1, and then put an aim counter on it. So one of the things I made a point of saying back in that set was, you can put aim counters on things in a janky way, no matter what bow you're using with Point the Tip. But a lot of people are saying it's garbage. But I
mean,
what do you think?
Crow's Nest is a thing, though, right? Like,
oh yeah,
your quiver puts aim counters on, so like, just use Crow's Nest instead of like the Rustling Leaves or the other one, the Abyssal Depths. So like, you could do it. I guess
it just has to be on top of the deck, doesn't it, to bring it in? Yeah. And you have to pay the extra 1 for it, which is the thing. Yeah. But
yeah, it requires the setup, right? You don't just get it, but you have to go through the motion to do so. But it's probably worth it, though, right? Like, I think this is one of the arrows that like also helps make stuff. I didn't mention this in my video, but it makes stuff like Memorial Ground better, right? Because then you can just keep getting this back, and then if you can keep setting it up, getting that aim counter because you put it on top of your deck with the Memorial Ground and yada yada yada, then it's good. However, my big thing with this card, and a lot of cards with on-hit effects like this, any card that makes your opponent discard something, unless you're doing some tricky shenanigans like Uzuri, this card basically reads, if this has an aim counter on it, it gains, your opponent must block this out, period. Like, otherwise they're just losing equity. They're going to discard the cards anyway, so they might as well just block it. So this card is like, you must dominate this card to make it work as well. So like, that's the other caveat to this card. Like, you got to dominate it. Otherwise, you just forces your opponent to block with like, 2 cards or a card and some equipment or something like that,
Yeah. But like, honestly, for me, I think it's a relatively easy comparison to make between like this and, I almost want to say Crippling Crush, except for the fact that Crippling Crush is random cards, which is absurd. Very similar to like an attack that's buffed with Terra Sunder in Guardian. Because a lot of the time, because it gives it dominate, and they discard 2 cards of their choosing, and it happens on any amount of damage. Like, I think that's a pretty easy comparison. And like Terra Sunder, you can play at 3, and honestly, to me, it's miserable to play against.
Yeah,
Oh, it
because
is, yeah.
you can just do the thing and come in with an Anothos for 7 with Dominate that like just rips apart your entire hand. So,
you know, it's real spicy with this.
Effect.
That Azalea players don't really run right now, but like something like Razor Reflex, like an attack reaction.
Yeah.
To like, they're like, oh, I blocked it out, and you're like, ah, Razor you. Now you have to get rid of your whole hand. Like, I don't know, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Even things like Rain Razors can, you know,
Rain Razors for sure.
A good thing.
Yeah,
as well.
It's just another notch in the belt of Azalea players for having the strongest on hits in the game, in my opinion.
It's pretty close. As an Uzuri player, I wish my on hits were like as good. I still have some pretty good ones. Don't get me wrong. Shakedown, Surgical, those are pretty good. But I'd much rather. Well, not rather. Like, give me something like this. I would like this too. Give me like this as well.
Oh my God, if Azuri had access to this level of like hand disruption,
I mean, she already has like pretty good hand disruption.
Yeah.
And if we get to our week in Flesh and Blood, I can talk about that because I have officially finally updated my Uzuri deck. So, huzzah!
Well, there you go. Hell yeah!
I think Assassins though, their sort of disruption is much more targeted, isn't it? You know, you're targeting either the top card of the deck with the banish, with the contract, you're either picking something out from their hand which they don't want to lose, whereas they could save it if they're hit with Judge Judy. I mean,
I will say this. I actually would prefer, and tell me your guys' opinion on this. I would prefer, I prefer Surgical Extractions on hit to this on hit, because I prefer to look at my opponent's hand and then pick the card. Whereas this card, at least they could keep their best one, right? I've heard people say like, oh, this card's bad because I'll just discard my entire hand and keep Warmongers, and then they'll screw their turnover or something like that. Which I think is a hilarious take, by the way. But so yeah, would you prefer this on hit or something like Surgical, where you get to look at your opponent's hand and then pick a card?
Oh, Azalea already has that with Deadeye. You know, again, it's a big, and there's a stacking thing, I believe, with this and Deadeye, where if you trigger the Deadeye, if you trigger this first and then you Deadeye afterwards, you discard their whole hand instead.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's also another thing which could happen. You need a lot of blues to make that happen, and obviously you need to be set up so you get the aim counter in a variety of ways. But I think the most consistent way of getting the aim counter is obviously off of the top of the deck, which you're using with Azalea's ability, and then Crow's Nest for the extra one that you pay to get the aim counter on, or Sand Scour, because obviously when you put something into your arsenal from your deck, you get the aim counter that way. But yeah, going completely off topic there anyway, just rambling on. I would prefer to have these big splashy effects, but that's just the type of player I am. I like to have the big things. That's why I like Bravo as well, because he does big bombastic things, and Azalea is getting those as well with this to a certain degree, and she also already has a load of on hits as well. So I would prefer the big bombastic thing rather than the targeted thing.
Yeah, I do really like targeted hand disruption, especially coming from like Magic and Thoughtseize.
I do love me a good Thoughtseize. I own a good number of them. It's one of my favorites.
Thoughtseize is just a very good card, and effects that are similar to Thoughtseize are extremely good, in my opinion. And I think in Flesh and Blood they are even more impactful because of how multifaceted cards are in Flesh and Blood. But yeah, I still think that having access to this type of on-hit effect is extremely good. I think that this is a pretty good card, especially if you are able to, even if you just do the aim counter the one time, like you just have the Crow's Nest because you're not using the other ones, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh hey, by the way, here's this really impactful on hit with Dominate that I've buffed with like any of the buffs that exist, especially like Deadeye. Just double up on that aim counter being impactful.
I think what you
Yeah.
said earlier as well, before we were recording, is that you don't want to be firing this early in the game when they have a fridge.
Oh, that's what I was saying.
Yeah. So you want to be whittling them down first. So when they're at their most vulnerable, then you Judy them, basically.
Yeah, I mean this is a one of too. It's a legendary one, so it's not like you're rocking a bunch of them anyway. So you just save it or pitch it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, but yeah, no. Thanks to LSS, and I did a little video after my reveal, just saying thanks because Azalea Cult started it because we love the hero and just coming around full circle now with a legendary Azalea Specialization. Yeah, very very grateful for that. Don't know where she goes from here, and I don't know what I'm gonna do when she goes.
She's looking like she might. I don't know, man. Like she just won that 20K, and
that's it. So yeah,
it's gonna happen.
Just wrapping up on this card, obviously, because there's a lot of hype around it, and obviously I'm very very happy to have spoiled it. Of course, the optics are all back on Azalea again. It's funny because the last time the optics were all on Azalea was just after Outsiders, and guess what was after that? The Realm Games tournament where Brody and Levi were in a mirror match for the final. And now it's a year later. This has just come out, and again, it's Azalea in the final, beating what did they beat? Dash in just an absolute domination display of just 16. Again, Brody's list was very red and yellow heavy, but I'm sure there'll be another video on that somewhere. But it was just nice to see all the optics on Azalea again. What happens now with Azalea? Do all the warmongers come back out, or do we see more Bravos rising up? Because that's a very hard matchup. They can rickroll Azalea, so she can't do these ridiculous things. But we'll see. I don't know. Does anybody know if there's any living legend points attached to that realm thing? Because it wasn't last year. I don't know whether they upgraded it to a sanctioned event.
I don't know. Actually, I have no idea.
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So I know it wasn't last year, but I think there was speak that it's now a battle hard. They now get a battle hardened or something. But yeah, correct us in the comments. But yeah, just awesome card and nice opportunity for me. And I really enjoyed the video as I always do. I just thought it was funny. I thought I did a good job of it. So go and watch it if you haven't done already.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I love how you're just playing tennis in the middle of the night too. I'm like, what the hell? Who plays tennis at like whatever time this is? It looks like it's like 11 p.m. or something.
Pure bolting as well. I could just see the breath like coming out while I'm outside.
Oh, I saw it. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Oh, it's fun.
Hilarious. But yeah, no. So really excited that you had that opportunity. Honestly, that's just so unbelievably cool. And shout out to LSS for supporting creators like this. Like obviously, Az has a lot of love for specifically Azalea, so letting him be able to show the world stuff like this is extremely exciting. I was there when he got the email. He was
that's right. Yeah,
extremely excited.
Yeah, I didn't see anything, but I just got the email that weekend in Barcelona. I was like, Bill, I've got an email. What's going on? And then obviously we hopped on a podcast to speak about it, and Kel was like, "It's got to be an Azalea card," and lo and behold, it was.
And it was.
Turns out it is one of the now 3 specializations for Azalea. What I find interesting about this card too is if you have a good setup, like it's just like almost 4 of a kind in your deck because of Knock the Death Whistle. You can always just go tutor for it. So it's like just cool card.
Yeah, so
that's one thing to note. That's one thing. Yeah,
Sorry,
exactly. One thing to note as well. Just obviously we're on a ramble, and it's always going to be like this. When on this podcast when this is just dropped. But it's important to note as well that obviously because of the aim counter mechanics, you cannot abuse this with Codex either, unless you have a very intricate line where you put it into your arsenal face down. You haven't activated your cross wrap yet, so you flip it face up, and then you play something like Point the Tip, which puts a face up arrow aim counter on it. You're not going to be able to abuse. You're not going to be able to abuse it with Codex. You can Memorial Ground it, like Kel said, and then bring it in with the Crow's Nest or the Sand Scour. but it is, for a reason, a hard card to abuse. You know, you need to set it up properly to be able to get the thing. So, but yeah,
Az just wants to get everyone to play Silver the Tip.
Yeah, he's got Silver the Tip stonks.
Yeah, I was actually messing around with that on Talishar the other day. That's the one cost. It's the one cost thing that looks through the top 4 cards of your deck, and then you get to put an arrow from your deck into your arsenal. I was actually messing around. I was actually messing around with that the other day. Also, Blessing of Focus, another card from Dynasty, which it's like an aura that cracks at the start of your turn. Then you look, you opt 3, and you can put one of those things into your arsenal with a name counter on it. I've been messing around with that as well, but don't think it's good enough, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's no shortage of just buffs in general, but there are a shortage of ones that are actually efficient at what they do. Shout out Overflex. Shout out what's the other one? Ice Storm. Big fan
Ice
of those.
Storm.
It's a 0. It's a 0+3. It's not nothing.
It's a 0+3.
Yeah,
and it has some other text that I wish was relevant. But
just before we move on to the next thing, which I don't know, we're going to go into our weeks maybe after we've rambled about this card.
Yeah, I think so. I think that makes sense.
But just what you were saying, Bill, about creators being able to spoil things that, you know, they're potentially known for, or they do a lot of content on, or the love or the passion of the characters that they like, or whatever. There is also this weekend and the weekend after. There's also Prism spoilers, I imagine, because Fano's got a specialization, and then Breezy and Gorganian Tome have both got these sorts of cards as well. Gorganian Tome, I imagine, maybe a Viserai Tome or something, a Runeblade Tome.
Breezy like definitely has like a Viserai card, like definitely. Yeah. For the same reasons why you definitely had an Azalea card. Although they keep giving Viserai specializations, like he just keeps getting them. Like I swear, like every set there's like a new Viserai specialization, and he's like getting further and further into the Erathiel. Next he's gonna be like in the actual vortex or something, and he's just gonna be like,
yeah, I love it. But yeah, anyway, with that, like Az has been saying, I did want to talk about the spoiler because that was really exciting. But yeah, we should also talk about our weeks in Flesh and Blood.
I mean, it's a good segue because this is a big part of Az's week, I imagine, in Flesh and Blood.
I think so. But
no, it was just a little thing, you know.
Just whatever. Exciting. Yeah, you didn't even really notice that it happened.
No. I mean, I'll carry on with my week as well, just while we're on the train, because I also released the Flesh and Blood Worlds versus Spain football match yesterday.
Yeah. Which I watched
got an absolute walloping.
I was just saying, I was gonna spoil it, but someone definitely got absolutely destroyed, and I'm not gonna say who got destroyed, but someone got wrecked. One of the teams got wrecked. Yeah.
We got absolutely wrecked. Yeah,
that's tough.
It was tough, but yeah, go and watch that if you're interested in sort of sport and, you know, Flesh and Blood coming together. That's on Go Again Gaming, the first of its kind with regards to that, and had comments already of people saying, "Oh, you're going to do another one. You're going to do this. Oh, you should do this with every Pro Tour." And I'm like, I'm not going to go to all of them. You know, I'm not going to be able to do that. But hopefully, I said this to James as well on the day. You know, I hope that it does inspire people to do extracurricular activities that aren't just Flesh and Blood related, because there's other people, you know, people are interested in more things than just cards, and it shows. So hopefully people will organise these things, even if I'm not doing it. But yeah, so that's pretty much my week, the spoiler and that. So I'll just throw it off to somebody else now. I'll shut up for like 20 minutes.
Now I'm going to talk for 20 minutes. No, Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say my week actually wasn't all that exciting or impactful. We do have a new player in our local scene that wants to play, I believe it's Dorinthia, some type of warrior, because they wanted Helm of Sharp-Eye and Iron Song Determination, and they were looking for them, and I was just like, oh yeah, I have those. And they're like, oh, okay, cool, how much do you want for them? I'm just like, nah. Like, yeah. I'll just drop them off, just welcome, like, you know, whatever. And so yeah, I have to do that after the podcast. Swing by our local game store to drop those off. And then I also wanted to just give a shout out to a friend of the channel who sort of introduced me to one of their friends who at Barcelona actually got a pack of Alpha Welcome to Wraith and opened this cold foil Iron Rod Gauntlet that I'm showing for all of the audio listeners. So yeah, I have this cold foil Alpha Iron Rod Gauntlet that I just own now. I bought it off of them because I thought it would be cool to own, and so I do.
Yeah,
Nice.
Basically been my whole week.
I was telling Bill before the podcast, I was like, I remember those when those were like $10 or maybe even less than $10 because it was just an iron rod piece, maybe like 5-ish for like a cold foil iron rod.
Ridiculous.
For a while actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I will just say this was not $5.
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it now then?
Probably a couple hundred.
Yeah, I got it for 200 USD.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, pack
Nice.
fresh though, so that's like, and it looks beautiful. Honestly, the centering looks great. I should just get this slabbed by PCG.
Yeah, man. I use these little mini snaps though for my cards.
Yeah, just see if I can get a good grade on this and just have a nicely graded alpha cold foil.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, why not?
Speaking of alpha cold foils, my week largely involved making some new content for Flesh and Blood, and then also upgrading finally my Uzuri deck, which has just been sitting around for a while. So I'm officially down to play some games, which I might do this coming Wednesday, actually the day of this podcast with Az.
Right.
Might do like a fun little live stream. I mentioned that because one of the alpha cold foils back in the day that I made sure to get because I was like, hey, this is a fortunate stroke of foresight where I was able to been like, you know what, I'm going to be into this game for a long time, so I really want to get the cards that I want to make sure that I have. So this is a cold foil Snapdragon Scalers. And then I also
Lovely.
and this is my famously all foil Uzuri deck. So it's got like cold foil adult Uzuri, cold foil daggers. Not running my cold foil spring tunic though. I have that in the studio, but I'm just running the rainbow foil here. But I do have my cold foil like shriek razors, black text, flick knives, all that good stuff. I even have my extended art cold foil redback shroud that I'm not actually running in the deck, but it is in the deck box for emotional support. Yeah, so that's basically.
I haven't actually looked at redback shroud for a while, but you said you use tunic in your deck instead. Is that right? As a Uzuri?
Yeah, so Redback Shroud and Uzuri is almost useless because what it does is it reduces the cost of attack reactions by 1. I run Shred, which costs 0. It would reduce the cost of my Spreading Plagues, but that's it. And I don't think it's worth, running over Tunic, where the Tunic can, actually help with paying costs.
I know this is really old news, like Redback Shroud, but obviously I haven't looked at it for a while, and it's just sparked thought. But what reaction cards are there that cost 1 that are worth using? I know Razor Reflex is one of them, but that's pretty much all I can think of. Is there any others that Assassin might be able to use for 1, which makes his card actually...
It would reduce the cost of Pummel to 1, so it would reduce the cost of Pummel.
I see. Okay,
it could reduce Razor Reflex. Yeah. All it does is it reduces it by 1. Ooh, I think we lost Bill there for a second. And he's back.
We're
cool.
good.
Cool. But yeah, no, it just costs 1 less. And I'm making doubly sure it just says the next attack reaction card. So it does affect generics as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's Redback Shroud and what is it? Just Razor Reflex. Excellent combo, in my opinion.
Yeah, pretty good. It's one of the silver cards.
No, I'll tell you what is a 1 cost from Outsiders, and that's the spike with reactions.
Yes, that is true.
They cost 1.
Yeah.
And they're actually pretty good because obviously they just give your next thing +3, and on hit you get one of the blood rots. So it's basically like the the Ranger equivalent, but in Assassin. It's the lace with Blood Rot, lace with Inertia, etc. But in Assassin as a reaction. So the Redback Shroud actually makes that cost nothing, which could be quite good. In certain scenarios, but that's pretty much it, really.
In my Uzuri deck, I run 3 yellow shred, 3 blue shred, and then 3 spreading plagues as my reactions. At one point in time, I was considering running like cheeky one-off pummel or some Razor Reflexes, but I've kind of settled on this for the time being. I've actually streamlined the deck a little bit more. I was running Death Touches, and I actually recently cut the Death Touches to make it a little bit more streamlined. So I cut 3 Death Touches and 1 Fate Foreseen for 2 red Scar for a Scar and 2 red Ravenous Rebel, just to have that little bit of extra go wide. And also I get to flex a little bit because I do have an alpha pink foil Scar for a Scar. And then both of my Ravenous Rebels are alpha or first edition foils too. So this deck is my baby. This is like all foiled out. Except for my 3 codices, they're not foil. I do have a cold foil one, but I want to get some rainbow foils. Only one of my Warmongers is foil, and then everything else is foil except for the 3 alpha, the 3 pink pitch E-strikes as well. Here's my 3 alpha E-strikes. So a little bit of a assassin flex there. Out of all that stuff,
all good. I definitely want to build. I definitely want to build it, but I want to build Arachne just because of that new specialization. Because I love the flavor of Arachne.
Yeah, Arachne
Oni mask and everything.
Arachne's cool. Visual viewers will know that. Hey, yo, that's the character that I have in the background today.
Oh, is it really?
It is, because I do very much love Assassin. It's my favorite class, and I do very much love Arachne. Yeah. So that's basically my week. Updating my deck, getting everything all ready to jam some games. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I would say I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not really.
Why?
He doesn't want to get spanked.
I don't want my key cards taken away from me. Yeah, Shakedown. Yeah, Red in the Ledger. Get out of here.
Yeah, Shakedown. I got my full play set of foil already deads in here. It's good. My list is a little bit different than a lot of others. I like playing some like weird fun stuff. So I'm actually running a couple Eradicates in the deck as well. Which is the yellow contract card that banishes like the top X. And so I run it basically as a card that incentivizes people to block it. Or you can just take it and get milled a whole bunch. That's cool too.
That's just a generic assassin. Arachne can use that too, can't he?
Yeah, Arachne can use every single card in this deck except for Shakedown. Shakedown is the Uzuri specialization.
Nice.
You can run your sensors, which is sweet. Oh, this deck is so cool. I love this deck. This is great. I'm also running Infiltrates too. That's another one of my spicy picks. So at one point in the deck, when making the deck, I was like, okay, I need more stealth cards, and I could do what a lot of people do and run just like a crappy blue stealth card that's just like the frailty one or whatever, because I'm already running a full playset of isolates. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna run Infiltrate, because I feel like Infiltrate's a card that also incentivizes people to block. Like, it's one of the cards that people are like, I don't want you to take the top card of my deck. And so I'm like, I think it's just a cool card there. So.
Yeah, it just depends. If you're attacking a ranger with that, though, I guess they're just like, yeah, okay, I'll let it hit because you can't play arrows because you don't have a bow. But apart from that, any other class, you might want to hit something that you can actually play.
Well, it still banishes the card though, at least. So
that's true.
The arrow's still gone, which is cool. So if it hits if it hits a spicy one, then you don't have it.
Yeah, it doesn't just go back, does it? Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, it's a fun deck, and it has all those nasty on hits that I was talking about before. That's what makes the deck so much fun to me, is the shakedowns and the surgicals and all that good stuff.
I think there's a load of cards though in Assassin that just don't really see too much play at the moment, because it seems to be quite streamlined. There's the Uzuri lists and stuff that we see at the moment seems to be quite, everything seems to be quite similar. And like you say, they're not using Eradicate, they're not using Infiltrate. These cards on the face do seem quite good. So I'd love to see.
I have like 3 or 4 pet cards in the deck that other people don't typically run. Some people do run Spreading Plague. Yeah. Like I usually see some decks run like a 1 or 2 of Spreading Plague. I also run my Cold Foil Plague Hive because yes, I do play with my Cold Foil Fableds, so that is in the deck. And then I run the 2 Eradicates as well. Those are kind of like my pet cards for the deck.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of a good segue as well, because in terms of cards that you would want to play, or cards that are Windmill Slams in your deck, we do have an exciting assassin card that I think we did talk about last week, but it's still a good enough segue for me to utilize it again. If you could play Coercive Tendency, would you play it?
Uzuri.
In Uzuri. Interesting.
Oh, it's an Arachne specialization. That's so you wouldn't then is the
but hypothetically if you could.
I thought that's what you were getting at, because you're like, if you could play it.
Okay, well, that is what I meant. Yeah, just hypothetically, would you play it if you could?
Probably not. Probably not, because what it does is it shores up problems that Arachne has that Uzuri doesn't really have, because you don't play the same style of deck. And maybe that's one of the big problems with Assassin now. I don't think it's a problem, but it's just a divide where there's like the contract cards and then the stealth cards. And there's kind of like, you can do a little mix. I do that with Uzuri, but this card really wants you to play a lot of contract cards. And it doesn't really work outside of contract cards. Like, doesn't do anything outside of contract cards. And so if you're only running, like in my deck, I'm only running, what did I say? I'm running 9. I'm running 11 contract cards. Most Uzuris run even less than that. So it's like, yeah, not.
So it wouldn't do anything then.
Yeah,
which is good because you can't play it anyway. So there you go. But anyway, the way that I was trying to segue that is to just talk about the rest of the spoilers that we have for heavy hitters at large. And the one that I think we should definitely talk about, because it might be a new up-and-coming deck, potentially, the new Kassai, if we wanted to talk about her for a little bit. Because there's it's weird so far, but I'm liking it. So we have Kassai of the Golden Sand is the adult, the full name, and then the young version is just Kassai, because we have the other young version is Kassai Centauri Sellsword. So anyway, so Kassai of the Golden Sand has the regular stat line for heroes, so 4 intellect, 40 health, and down to 20 health at young. If you've drawn a card this turn, your sword attacks cost 1 less to activate. So that is just blanket. That's similar to just activating a Courage of Bladehold, but it's just if you've drawn a card this turn. So kind of a good effect, honestly, in my opinion. And then once per turn action to banish 2 red and 2 yellow cards from your graveyard. The next time a weapon you control hits a hero this turn, create a gold token. Go again.
Love the flavor, because she is Kassai of the Golden Sand, and she basically wants you to banish blood and sand, which I think is super, super flavorful and super cool.
Yeah.
And on the art, there's like she's like walking in blood. You can't really see it all that much. You can kind of a little bit of see it behind the text box, but yeah, she's like walking through blood, and there's like weird sand dudes on the sides in full art. It's weird.
So I do think that she probably, in this art at least, does have blood on her hands. So so everybody at home, write that down. But yeah, anyway, so I think that this hero is potentially extremely good. Like I said, I think the comparison to her static effect being very similar to Courage of Bladehold is like not unreasonable. Obviously, it's not as easy to just have access to at any given time. But I still think that with it being omnipresent and being able to do it more than once, potentially multiple times throughout a game, I think that's definitely nothing to shake a stick at, especially when you have blood on her hands as an option. So I think this hero is really cool. And she also is like kind of following in Dromai's footsteps by being able to actually build up a board and put little guys into play.
Yeah, I have thoughts about that. I have thoughts about that thing.
Yeah, but before we talk about Raise an Army and the Centauri sellswords that come with them, what do you guys think of Kassai, other than the flavor?
I really like Kassai. I like the art. I like the character. I like the effect. Dorinthia was like the first real deck that I made for Flesh and Blood, and so I kind of have like a fondness for Warrior. It's like one of my top favorite classes for the game, even though I don't really talk about it all that much these days. But you know, people who watch my channel who are regular viewers know that I've made multiple Dorinthia deck techs and all that kind of stuff. The most recent one being the Big Axe Dorinthia. So I really like Kassai, and I'm excited to play with her both in limited and in constructed formats. I like that she kind of draws you cards, and she kind of also synergizes with drawing you cards because she makes gold tokens, and gold tokens, I can actually pull one up here because we have a new image of a gold token. Gold tokens cost 2 resources, and you destroy it, and you get a draw card. And so she kind of like synergizes with herself. I think the cost reduction is kind of funny because if you pay 2 resources to draw a card from a gold token, that's basically the same as what it would cost to attack with both of your Centauri Sabers. So it kind of like just nets you a card. And if you can draw cards from other means, then it's just like gas, right? I will note, this is something that people should keep an eye on, card syntax. It says, if you have drawn a card this turn, your sword attacks cost 1 less. It's not for every card you've drawn this turn. So you only get it if you've drawn a card, period. So if you play like Toma Fiendel, you don't get a 2 reduction.
Yeah, it's just a yes or no. It is if you have drawn a card, then yes.
Yeah. And then, like I said, I love the flavor of banishing 2 red and 2 yellow cards. I don't know how like playable that is. It's a lot of cards, but I think it's awesome. So
yeah. I do like that they were at least kind enough to make it the plunder run wording, where it's just the next time instead of the next attack you has when this hits do a thing. So if you do this at the start of your turn where you're going off with blood on your hands or something, then you are very likely getting a gold out of the effect. So
yeah,
honestly, not bad. I've been on record before stating that I think that gold tokens are very good. So I don't think that's necessarily controversial or anything to say.
No, they're great.
I hope not.
We assassins are slumming it with silver. Give me some gold generation.
Yeah, honestly, just second class citizens, really.
Yeah, what the hell? We're the ones who are getting paid the big bucks to kill the emperor. And these jabronis are just like throwing fists in a dirt circle. I mean, come on.
And they're all rich.
Well, the winners are rich. Everyone else is dead. Yeah.
But yeah, so let us go into now, I think, the controversial part of Kassai, which is Raise an Army. This is a Kassai specialization. It's a warrior action, blocks for 3, pitches for 2, and costs 0. And as an additional cost to play this, you destroy X gold you control to then create X Centauri Sellsword tokens. And then this has go again itself. And Centauri Sellswords are basically, the way that I would describe them, are 1 mana 3/2s. They have 3 attack, they have 2 health. You can pay 1 to attack with go again, but you can only attack if you've attacked with a weapon this turn. So it's not just a free attack, but it is pretty close to being free. So another hero that's able to build a board, similar to Dromai. It is a little bit more gated in that you need gold tokens. But I think from what we've seen thus far, even just from like the commons and whatever that have been spoiled, I think that Kassai is going to be able to make at least a few gold tokens pretty consistently throughout the game. There's a new mechanic called Wager, which we'll get into, as well as Clash. Clash, I don't think is going to work with Kassai, but I do think Wager will. But yeah, anyway. As soon as I mentioned the idea of Raise an Army, I think both of you kind of shifted in your chairs a little bit.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? We'll start with Az. I think I know what Kel's thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, historically as a ranger, we struggle against classes that put other things on the board because all of our attacks are huge, bombastic attacks that want to attack the player rather than the thing that they've created. And I just think it goes. I think allies in general just go against Flesh and Blood's core 1v1 hero versus hero battle. I don't want this game turning into board state development situation where you have creatures or units that then attack for you. There's multiple other games that do that better, I would say. So I don't want to see it go down that route, because I think it just takes too much away from the card for card trading and all this that Flesh and Blood is known for. Allies are just I just don't think they're fun either, because you have to sort of, and it gives you more sort of decisions you have to make, I guess, and it's just going to be interesting to see where the design space goes and how far they can go with this. Because if they're just going to give everybody allies, how many people have allies now? Illusionists have it, Draconic Illusionist has it, Warrior has it, Runeblade has it, I think.
Yep, Runeblade and Brute.
Demons.
Runeblade and Brute both have them as well.
And Brute?
Yeah.
Oh, Shadow Brute.
Yeah.
Shadow
Plasma
Brute
Fet.
specifically.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't particularly like the allies, but it looks like they're harder to activate because you have to do a thing before you do it. So I guess you still have to sort of synergize with your own hero before you can utilize the thing you've made, rather than just playing a red card and then being able to attack with every single ally you have on the board. I think that's just too good. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But leave a comment in the section below as to what your thoughts are. But Kel, what do you think?
Yeah, I talked about this when I covered these cards in a video, and I got some people commenting various things and all this kind of stuff. I basically agree with what Az has to say. For me, it's more of just like from a fundamental design standpoint rather than from any particular class. I think allies felt better when they were relegated to like the gimmick of illusionist, essentially, right? And I feel like this, I don't hate this as it stands, but I feel like it might lead to a slippery slope situation, because it's a warrior, man. And like, it does lore wise make a little bit of sense. So like, oh, she's Kassai, she's building her mercenary army or whatever. But I think you can like jump through hoops to make it make sense for literally every class in the entire game. Like even wizard, you can be like, now they have familiars that they're their allies, right? Like you can, assassins, now they have like their henchmen, thugs or whatever that are allies. You can literally make it make sense for every class. So I don't think that is a good argument for it.
Have their bloody constructs.
Yeah, you got like a little robot buddy. Yeah. So like
robot dogs and all this.
Yeah, ranger, you can have your pet, or your hunting dogs or whatever. Like, hunters and WoW famously have pets. So like, it's not a far stretch. So like, I don't hate this as it is, but I think it's something that I really am going to keep an eye on going forward, because I think it could lead to a slippery slope, and I agree with everything that Az had to say about it. So I'm not going to reiterate all that stuff, but I'd like. I play Flesh and Blood for Flesh and Blood. I don't play Flesh and Blood because I want to play like Magic, right?
Yeah, you play. You want to play the heroes. You don't want to play the heroes' henchmen. I couldn't care less about. I mean, I guess dragons is a different thing. I guess a lot of people like dragons, like fantastical creatures that have these names, but all the dragons were named, right? They all had an identity. These are just Centauri sellswords.
Just some dude.
Just a guy with some gold.
Just a guy, yeah. And like, I agree. I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. But generally speaking, so it's just like, I guess like, if you want to liken the analogy to fighting games, because a lot of people like to do this for Flesh and Blood, I liked the allies because in fighting games you'd have that one or two characters that had like a buddy with them, right? You know the fighting game characters that just have like someone following them or something, and they're the ones that do the attacking. But there's only like two of those characters per fighting game, maybe only even one, maybe none at all. And I don't want everyone to be that character if Flesh and Blood the fighting game, right? So
I think it's an interesting style that they're going for here, an interesting sort of design conceit almost, where they're like, yeah, you know, like this does make sense for this other hero, even though allies up to this point, like we had the originals that we were talking about, where you have to basically jump through hoops and get a specific. You could make this demon, or you know, you are Prism, who is the sculptor of Arclight. You have these angel allies that you can create, and some of them are even more short-lived than others, where we have like phantasm attacks, which are like, I think flavor-wise and lore-wise, just a very brief vision of like the War-Tune Herald coming in to punch you. And then yeah, we had Dromai, we had a couple other things, and now it's just like, now you can just buy some friends.
Yeah,
that's right. Like the flavor, as you say, like against when we had original Prism, the things that she was summoning were just these flash in the pan moments, which were still flesh and blood because it was just on a card that you were attacking with there and then in the moment. But now you can establish this board state, and over time you're just going to accrue so much value if the player doesn't attack your allies, and that just feels bad when you have to attack.
Well,
especially for certain classes.
To be fair, I mean, this isn't that fair to. Anyway, what I'm getting at is that Prism did have a board state before, but it was even worse. It was the like the auras and
the
all
auras,
that, all that crap.
Oh god, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So
not quite allies, but still not great.
It was like it was worse than allies. Yeah. But
yeah, at least allies don't have Spectra. They all have Ward now. So
yeah, at least they don't end your turn the moment you attack them. Like
yeah. I guess that's actually super reasonable. Arclight Sentinel is the worst ally ever printed.
Oof.
Oh god, get out of here with your counterspell.
Like, this is a time walk, man.
Another thing as well, like pretty much, yeah, it's a horrendous card. I absolutely hate it. But I was gonna say as well, when I was teasing the fact I had a Ranger card to spoil and stuff, guess what? A lot of the people wanted to see on a Ranger card. What do you think they wanted to see on a Ranger card?
I'm gonna guess ally because we're talking about allies.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
metagamed it.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I saw somebody mention something like the what is it, cleave? They were like, I want a cleave effect, but on a Ranger card.
That's something that Az and I have talked about a lot. I want an explosive shot that does cleave.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Blast.
That is what a lot of people were saying. Oh, do we get an arrow that finally does a Wrath of God effect, or something that does split damage? Because we're gonna see this ally nonsense, and people want to be able to deal with it. And if you're going to be printing allies, eventually you're going to need some sort of board wipe effect as well to deal with all this stuff on the board. But I don't want that to happen because that's just
it feels like a
gathering. We
don't need to be that. It feels like them sort of creating a problem that needs them to create a solution down the road instead of just not creating the problem to begin with.
Yeah, I think right now we're still fine, but like, and then like the next set or two, if it's like, you know, now ninjas have like a little buddy or something, and then now Rangers have a little pet or something. I'm like, it could be a very slippery slope where it's a situation where they, you know, maybe, you know, they could do it, but should they do it? Kind of thing. You know.
But that's another thing as well that even like movies and other things, you know, struggle with is how do you up the scale? Because if you're just fighting, you know, if you're fighting, you know, like Daredevil and Kingpin, street level heroes, Marvel style, and then you have to up the ante to, this is now a citywide threat. We need everybody involved to deal with a threat. Now it's a world-ending threat, and now it's a multiversal threat. You're gonna need to up that scale every time. And how do they keep doing that? Eventually, you're gonna need Kassai leading an army of sellswords. You know, that's eventually what it's gonna get to. But I hope it doesn't.
It depends on the scaling that they want to go with, right? Because like. But she's already getting an army. But like
already getting an army.
Right. But if you think about it in terms of like video game stuff, and you can think about it in terms of like good narrative video games, and I want to bring up like The Witcher 3. Like The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, the bad guy's Aridin, who is the leader of the Wild Hunt, who is a like world-threatening villain, But at the end of the game, you literally just fight him 1v1 as Geralt, right? So you can still do it. It just depends on how they do it with their storytelling. If they want to be Marvel, or if they want to be The Witcher, you know.
We will see on that front, but yeah, it's just the scale as the scale of the game increases and stuff. They need to. I just don't want them to. I just don't like allies. That's it, really.
Yeah.
I agree, though. I think it's yeah.
We alluded to this on the very end of the last podcast, didn't we? We knew it was going to descend into madness with this, but it's not broken just yet, I don't think. So we're still optimistic, but that's our thoughts in general, I think. Yeah.
Just wait until they print Necromancer next year, and they're just all allies as well. I think they could do Necromancer without allies at all, like do like curses or something cool. But
I would love if they did curses. That'd be really, really cool.
Like
that'd be a good way to do it.
But I could also see them just like
on the flip side.
Now you have little 1/1 skeletons, and if they die or at the end of turn or whatever, like.
But on the flip side, is printing allies or heroes that can use them. Is that a good thing to have in the hero pool? Because some then creates a situation where some heroes might just auto lose into ally decks because they just don't have the right things to deal with it, because it then creates a triangle again because there's allies in it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. It reminds me a lot of the fact that, like, if you build Prism outside of the aura, like outside of just aura spam, and you do use like the many heralds that they've printed and the big attacks with Phantasm, like that's a playstyle that they do want to be a thing, but it is not proven to be effective because Guardians exist, because Brutes exist. So there might be a time in the future where, like, I think they are as well setting up for a universe in which that's potentially fine. My reasoning for that is the fact that Ghostly Touch exists as a card. Like something that rewards you for getting your stuff popped, playing this strategy, but then not fully losing. I think that's like pretty fundamental to game design, is having there be strategies that are clearly not like the best strategy. I think that's fine, and I think that's something that even the creator of Magic the Gathering once said, that like bad cards kind of need to exist. But then maybe one day they're good cards. That's what I look forward to.
I think that they could get the triangle balance that Az was talking about without having to rely on allies. I think they could still do it without doing allies, and I think that doing allies more for a wider variety of classes dilutes what makes allies special for the classes that already use them. So
like I think that allies should be kept to specific heroes that specialize in them, instead of them just being a regular thing. It reminds me of again, another reference to Magic the Gathering, but just Planeswalkers. Like they were a cool thing that you had once or twice, and now they're just in every set, and they're no longer special. They're overpowered, and nobody likes them. At least for me.
No one likes Ren and Six.
Point, actually.
No one likes Boo.
I don't.
By the way, Boo is Boo is the hamster, by the way, that you summon with
I think we referenced Minsk and Boo the other day because of Squizzle and Floof. Yeah, we were like, which one's Squizzle, which one's Floof? I bought a foil Minsk and Boo for whenever I decide to make my Canadian Highlander deck, because I do hear that Minsk and Boo is quite good. Yes, that's a fact.
Anyway,
outside of Magic the Gathering talk, there are a couple other spoilers that we can talk about. There is a set of common equipment that I think are actually really nice, specifically for UPF. But in UPF, I think they're quite good. They're all sort of differently named things, but I'm just going to call them the UPF set.
Yeah, these are the ones that I mentioned last week, if you remember that.
Yes. Yeah, so these were mentioned. We'll still just talk about them again because we're talking about spoilers, but there's Headliner Helm, Stadium Centerpiece, Ticket Puncher, Grandstand Leg Plates, and Bloodied Oval, which are a head, chest, arm, leg, and offhand, respectively. And all of them have the same text. They all have blade break with a star for their defense because their defense is equal to the number of opposing heroes with greater life than you.
Yeah.
So these are very much like back against the wall. If you have lower life and you still have 3 opponents, then these block for 3.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
a lot of block.
The fact that they're generic is awesome, by the way, because just anyone can use them. The fact that they're common is really cool for like budget decks. If you're making like a budget UPF deck and you don't have like all the legendaries, I think just running all of these is like not the worst, right? If you're losing and you're getting beaten up on, you just can have like randomly 12 block out of nowhere. So yeah, dude, I like them.
So I like those. I like those quite a bit, honestly. Good design.
Yeah, and I'm just a big fan of the shield because I want to use the shield in assassin decks. Any hero, honestly, that you can one-hand a weapon, you can use the shield. You can use this in a ninja deck if you wanted to. Like, it's cool. I dig it.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining Benji in the blood and sand arena, just there, like, what are you doing here? With his Zephyr needle
with a
and
shield
his bloodied oval.
Katsu, where'd you go, Katsu? There's this big green guy.
Oh, jeez, Katsu.
Oh, jeez, Katsu.
Yeah, but I just wanted to shout those out because I really like them. We do also have, let's see, we have, this one's a fun one actually that has created a lot of discourse. This is what feels like it should be a Riptide specialization.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about this. This card's hilarious.
Yeah, so this card is potentially a lot of card advantage.
It
isn't.
It's a 3-cost draw 4.
Yeah. So this is Reel In. This is a Ranger instant. It's a Majestic. It's a blue and it costs X. Because it has the effect, look at the top X+1 cards of your deck, choose up to 4 traps, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle. And then it has reload. So Magical Christmas Land, hear me out. You play this for 3 and you draw 4 cards. And that's the end of that. That's
because obviously the top 4 cards of your deck are going to all be trap cards. So, just do it, man. This is draw 4.
Yeah, in Blitz, I'm going to be playing 2 of these and 38 traps.
I know people who would actually do that. Ian Kenderdine would 1,000,000% do that if he had enough traps. Like, he would, for sure.
Yeah. You know what? I can't even lie.
I don't think there's enough to do that.
Not quite.
Because all the Riptide spec traps are legendary. So you only have 1 of them each in the deck, so it's only 3 there, and then there's not enough to fill out a 40-card deck, like the rest of it to fill it out.
Because all the traps are there's not really any that have like an actual full cycle. Like there's not one that has a red, a yellow, and a blue. That would help out quite a bit if there was.
Yeah, it's just like the 1 color, like your Tar Pit trap's only 1 color, your Frailty trap's only 1 color. Yeah, and then also sometimes they just don't do anything as well.
Yeah, I think that's the funniest part. You play Reel In and you draw 4 cards, and it's like, yeah, but I drew 4 traps.
You drew 4 like 2-block traps that don't do anything or something. This is just bad defense reactions. So there's a couple things that I think are pretty funny about this card. The first thing is that traps are like so underpowered right now that they're printing a card like this that is like in any other case for any other card type would be incredibly powerful, but traps are so like not that they're like, here you go, please play traps, we really want you to play traps, look, you can draw 4 now, 4 traps, please just play them.
Please, I'm begging you.
Gotta be missing something here with these traps. Like the developers are like, here we go, here's this is what the card you needed.
You can do one kind of cool thing is if you are running Riptide with Skullbone Cross Wrap, you can check to see if you have a trap and then reel in for 0 to draw the trap.
Yeah,
you could reel in for 0. Yes. Hey, reload.
That's you
also get a reload as well.
That's pretty good.
So
so you get to put the trap right into your arsenal. Okay, this card's broken actually.
And then to do that, you only need to play a 0 block card in your trap deck. This card's funny. I don't know.
I've just ran some numbers in the background there. There are 30 traps in total.
Can't even do it.
We're so close.
Can't even with
wait. Yeah, you can.
So 30 traps in total. Oh, okay. So you could, yeah. So you could run.
If there are 30 traps, then yeah, you play 2 of some amount of them, 1 of each of the legendary ones, and then 2 reel in, and you can play it in blitz. Easy.
Yeah. Okay.
You can. Yeah.
Go for it. I guess you're using like Talishar or something as your weapon, because there's no way in hell the bows are going to do anything.
Shout out.
Oh
Ian.
wait, do you have to use a bow to use a trap, or do they take? I don't remember if that's part of being a trap.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Okay. Oh no, yeah, you don't. Because assassins have traps. Yeah. I think I was thinking about the old bad traps where you had to play the whole arsenal or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, they thankfully got rid of that.
You'd have to use those as well.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
In the deck, you have to use those as well. But luckily, Riptide's ability, if you play a trap, if you play anything from hand, you can reload the bad ones into your arsenal.
All right, someone.
So I guess
I want to see someone roll up with a UPF deck that's just all traps and 2 reel-ins.
That's what I tried to do that time, and then Ian was like, "Oh, it's not ultimate pit duck airs." It's not ultimate pit duck airs.
He did say that. He did say it's not ultimate pit duck. Oh, that's good.
Ultimate pit fight, not ultimate pit duck airs.
Well, at least okay. You did that with Azalea though. At least with Riptide, you can ping people for 1 damage, so you can at least sort of kill them.
Yeah. There's some amount of inevitability.
The deck. Okay, here's the deck. It is 26 traps, 2 reel-ins, and 2 red drone of brutalities. There you go. There's your Riptide UPF deck. But you're playing Riptide, obviously. And then your weapon is Talishar. Yeah.
Yeah. Phenomenal. Honestly, I don't see a single thing wrong with this.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. I actually want to try it now. After speaking about reeling,
and then use the new equipment. Use the new equipment so you have like 3 block on all of your things. And so you're the most miserable person to play against.
Yeah. You just start this UPF game with like 60 health.
Oh god.
Brilliant.
Someone's gonna do that because we're talking about it, and they're gonna make their play group absolutely miserable.
Please let us know how it goes. Leave a comment section below.
Yeah, please do let us know if you decide to do that. And also, I apologize in advance.
Sorry, not sorry.
But yeah. So hashtag sorry, not sorry. Yeah, and then I think the only other thing that we can really talk about thus far that's new is just talking about the new mechanics that they've revealed in general, which are Wager and Clash. So I think I do remember talking about Clash because I likened it to the mechanic of the same name from Magic the Gathering, which is for example, there's a card called Test of Strength, which is a generic block card. When it defends, it's a red and it blocks for 4, so it's sink below-ish, not really, but when this defends Clash with the attacking hero, the winner creates a gold token. And to Clash, you both reveal the top card of your deck, and then whoever has the highest attack on the card revealed wins the Clash and gets the gold token.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of a neat mechanic. Like I kind of said earlier in the podcast, Kassai will not be playing this, I don't think. Any card with Clash on it, because Kassai is a warrior.
There are warrior attack action cards, though, that they're printing in this set. We can pull it up in a second. But
yeah, there are. But, I just don't feel like it's going to be a good enough value proposition for you, unless there's like a lot of attacks and you're just making that your entire personality.
Yeah, I do want to mention that these also don't pitch for anything. So they have 0 pitch value, which is weird. You can only block with it. So yeah.
Oh yeah, Test of Strength doesn't pitch. Wow.
No, yeah, it does. It's a red.
It doesn't have a cost. I'm sorry. It doesn't have I was reading. I was looking at the wrong orb. It's the right orb, not the left orb. So yes, it does pitch For red, blocks 0 though. I mean, costs 0. Cost 0.
Yeah. So
Blocks
so yeah,
1.
there's
Yes.
for example, there's that test of strength for Clash. I assume we're going to be getting a decent amount of cards that have Clash on them. I think that's the only one that we've seen.
We have
thus
another one.
far. Everything.
We have
another one? Oh yeah, test of agility.
Test of agility. Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
It's literally the same thing, except you get agility token instead of gold.
Mm-hmm. And it is also a brute / warrior block, whereas test of strength is generic. So
Yes.
interesting. Yeah, and then we also have wager as a mechanic. I'll use Hold'em as an example, which is a warrior action that costs 1, pitches for 1, and blocks for 3. Your next warrior attack this turn gets +3, and when this hits a hero, you may wager a vigor token with them, which means when the chain link resolves, if the attack hit, you create a vigor token. Otherwise, your opponent creates one. So it is basically you calling your shot.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna hit with this, I promise.
So I'm just waiting for them to print a Fold'em as well.
You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
Exactly.
Oh my god. Yeah. So another mechanic that I think is kind of interesting, although it definitely is, I guess it isn't really. I was gonna say it's pretty telegraphed, but it could also be mind gamey.
Yeah.
It could just be like, hey, I think that I'm going to hit with this, and it's like, oh, does that mean you have a bunch of attack reactions in my hand? Okay, whatever. I'll just let it hit. Or whatever. Like if your opponent then reads that you have a bunch of attack reactions to use to make sure that it hits, then maybe they just don't block. Maybe they're just like, it's not worth it. I'll do it to the next one.
Yeah. And they did print a generic one here at Common as well. Money where your mouth is. Literally the exact same thing, except you wager a gold instead of the other token. And it's a 1 for +3. So sure. Yeah, why not? Block 2 though,
Yeah.
which is a bummer, but
Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, and wagering gold could be something that Kassai wants to do as well, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean,
just getting a critical
gold.
mass of gold.
it does say your next attack, not attack action, so this would pump a weapon attack. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could.
So that's one thing to note as well.
Could use it on your blood on your hands turn, just to get some extra damage, get a gold. I mean, even before that, you still could, but I just like talking about blood on your hands.
There's another one as well. The other one that creates gold. The one with Joe, the bouncer on it, starting stake.
Oh, yeah, starting stake.
Yeah.
First of all, shout out Joe.
Yeah, he does look like Joe. Yeah.
He's lovely. He was just hanging out with all the talent at Barcelona on the weekend of Barcelona, and yeah, he's a good guy, and you can definitely see the resemblance.
Yeah, for sure.
Good job, Iswardi.
Starting stake is like, I don't know if this card is terrible or good. Like it's hard to decide. It's a 0 cost yellow pitch 3 block generic action. Does not have go again, which is the most important thing here. If you control no gold tokens, you create a gold token. So you just get a gold for 0. But it also doesn't have go again, so your turn is just like done unless you have extra action point shenanigans. But it does block 3.
I imagine as well the wager mechanic obviously needs you to have a gold in order to wager. So it says you may wager a gold token with them when the chain link resolves. If the attack hit, create a gold token. Otherwise, they create one. So if you don't have a gold, you can't wager. I imagine.
No.
Why this is probably.
No. You can wager with nothing. The wager is that you either get it or your opponent gets it. Like it doesn't take it away from you.
So okay, so you don't need one to even wager then. You can just wager with nothing. Yeah.
The wager is whether or not the attack is going to hit. That's the wager. And then if it hits, then you get the thing, and if it doesn't hit, you don't get the thing, because it's not just gold tokens. We saw the wager, the first one, the Hold'em. You get a vigor token when it hits.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't need to have the thing in order to wager. Then you just, even if you've got nothing, you can still wager. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you needed to have one of the tokens already to be able to do it, but that's not the case. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it's a way to generate the tokens, but you like Bill was saying, it kind of telegraphs what you're doing. It's like, hey, I'm attacking you. You know.
Yeah. Hee.
I mean, there is a card called that we talked about before. We might have talked about before. It's one of the promos called Double Down that it cares about wagering. And it's a Guardian Warrior action 3-block 2-cost card. You may destroy a gold you control rather than pay its cost. And it says the next attack that wagers this turn gets +3 and overpower. And if a hero to create one or more tokens from wager, instead they create that many +1 of each of those tokens. So this is a way to give extra bonus to your wager attacks and then get extra tokens from it. This card itself is a Guardian Warrior action. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, well, this set comes out next year, and we've already got a load of stuff like hinting as to what it can be. But there's going to be so many more cards in this set, so we're only literally scratching and sniffing the surface here. not even tasting the sauce, but.
Yeah, I mean, it really feels like they have like at least 3 axes that I can see right now. Axes. There you go. There you go. So the first one is your dual class cards. So we have a lot of dual class cards right now. I have Runner up, which is a Brute Warrior attack action card. So this is what I was alluding to earlier. This is a Warrior attack action card. There's the token synergies. Runner also is one of those because if it attacks, it gets go again. When this attacks, if it has go again, create an agility token. And then you also have like the wager stuff, which generates the tokens. And then you have the clash, which also generates tokens. So I guess tokens are just going to be a big part of the set in general. And you have these ways to generate the tokens.
I think this is going to be bloody brilliant in like sealed or draft because it just feels like a set that's very much designed around itself. CC and constructed, no idea without seeing the rest of the cards, but all of these wagers and clashes and all this, and trying to squeeze the value out of these mind games that you're trying to play with wagering gold, and I just think it's going to be a great time, like sealed and all this. So I can't wait to play in that regard with it. There was nothing else. There was that deathmatch arena thing, wasn't there? But that's more of a leaderboard thing. That's not a game format, is it?
Yeah, that's just a leaderboard for the heroes that win the sealed events. And then whatever hero wins the most is like considered the winner of the deathmatch, which is pretty cool. That's some like L5R levels of character-driven or player-driven storytelling, which I think is pretty cool. And we do know that there are going to be 6 heroes. We do know there's going to be 3 different classes. So we've already seen them: Brute, Guardian, and Warrior. We likely will have 2 of each. It'll probably be something similar to like Outsiders, right? Where maybe we'll have some reprints or maybe some returning characters and maybe some new characters as well. We've currently only seen a new take on a returning character with Kassai, but I think it's a pretty.
There's going to be.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I reckon there's going to be some splashy dual class hero as well. Like, I reckon there's going to be some sort of ridiculous hero that's going to be like, oh, this is sick. He's a Guardian Warrior, like a new CC hero, Guardian Warrior, and everyone's going to lose their minds. And there's going to be a big thing in this set. I can feel it. Heavy hitters. There's going to be a big reveal. Kassai was just the start because obviously it's just a fan favorite. I think there's going to be a dual class hero in the set, like Emperor, but just like.
It is incredibly unlikely, but my headcanon and what I hope is that there will be a dual class Brute Guardian character that just has like an attack for 20.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
large.
I think it would be. I don't think they're gonna do a dual class, but I think it would be cool if they did. The only reason I think that is because they said that like the Emperor was the only character that wields dual classes in Wraith or whatever on his lore page. But I don't know. Maybe they retconned that. I can see them.
That's true. Yeah, I remember that.
I can see them doing that if they're retconning it or whatever. I actually think the big reveal will be another demi hero. They've been on the demi hero train here. I think we're gonna get like a Rhinar demi hero. I really do feel we're gonna get a Rhinar, and then we're gonna get a Rhinar demi hero to just to just like placate all the Brute fans who are salivating over this set.
Maybe right.
They're really leaning into the fan service here with like the Kassai, and you gotta bet they're gonna be leaning in heavier. Like there's gonna be like a KO or a Rhinar or something.
There's just gonna be like a Rhinar demi-hero, like Rhinar Primal Hunter.
I'm just like my bet is like it's just Rhinar Deathmatch Champion or something, and he's basically Starvo but Brute version. Like
oh god.
I think Rhinar, by the way, already is one of the least fun heroes to play against, and they're gonna print a Rhinar that makes it even worse. That's my guess.
Whenever you intimidate again.
Yeah, whenever you intimidate, deal 4 damage to your opponent. Like something disgusting. So you die even faster. Yeah. By the way, if the reason I think Rhinar is unfun is because he's very uninteractive. Intimidate is not like a very interactive mechanic. It is the opposite of that because it literally strips your opponent's ability to interact.
Yeah, that's so fun.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to play Flesh and Blood anyway. I just wanted to sit here and take your attack to the face. Sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I witnessed that as well, and I've touched on it on the last podcast. But the skirmish I went to was won by a Rhinar who went 6-0. And it was just exactly that. Just intimidating was the thing that was just because brutes are so good at pushing through just huge chunks of damage, and if you just can't effectively block it because of the intimidate, you're just dead in blitz because of that.
Yeah, I mean, like Mansant was like throwing 26 attack Hydras, just the last weekend. So sure, why not? Yeah.
Limb from limb, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Yeah.
So anyway, Brute doing Brute stuff, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna be eating good.
I think that we have a lot in store for us coming up. Like we've seen, like it feels like a low percentage of the cards that are actually available.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
There's still. I mean, yeah, it's obvious that we still don't have the first 89 cards of the set.
Yeah. So, I mean, we only know one of the 6 heroes too, so we don't even we don't have a ton to talk about. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to there being a new KO personally. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
I think I hope there's a lot of new characters too. I mean, I do think there's going to be some returning characters, but I want to see some new faces. So
yeah, definitely.
My guess is we're going to get Rhinar returning, but I think KO is also a possibility. I
would be very excited for that.
Yeah.
I think
want my
more,
boy.
Oh yeah. I think more characters as well just brings more people into it, because the more characters and personalities and heroes you have, the more people can relate to. So I think they need to balance it with fan service for people that have been into their game for God knows how long, and they need either new reprints of the characters that have LL'd or no longer playable, and then the new faces to attract new players that might vibe with this certain hero for whatever reason.
I will find it very funny if there's no new Rhinar, or if there is a Rhinar in the set, but it's a reprint of the original Rhinar, because I know Brute fans will be so pissed, because I know a ton of them were very upset for the classic battles that Dorinthia got a new hero and Rhinar was the same hero, like didn't even get it updated.
Just imagine.
So if we get in this set, in like a Brute set, if it's like no Rhinar or the same Rhinar, I think maybe the same Rhinar might even be worse. That would be
so funny.
Pretty funny. Yeah. I remember we joked about like the first Savage Land set would like have no Brutes in it. It would just be all like witch doctors and like wizards. Shamans. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like here's the Brute set. No Rhinar or KO. No. I think there's a good chance though, but still.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway,
I think that's like just about all the discussion for, at least for spoilers, that we can provide for the day. Do any of y'all have anything else that you would like to table as discussion?
I mean, I'm pretty good unless we have like a mailbag or something.
I think we do actually. I think we actually do actually.
I think we have something from Mustache Woo, and then we also have spam from something else. I think that's what I saw.
That's right.
I get spam like pretty often because they email me through the Spotify email, which is my own personal email, or not my personal, but my Red Zone Rogue email, and so I get a lot of like increase your viewership numbers with our blah blah blah, and it's like just following up on that email and notice you haven't emailed me back, and I get like 5 or 6 of those, and I'm like, there's 0% chance I email you back. I don't even read.
Yeah.
Like, no, dude, I don't want your super hacks to get more viewers or whatever. Like, I don't care.
That is
bro.
not happening.
Like,
no thanks.
Yeah. I even shared one with Az and Bill that I thought was kind of funny. I love it when they fake that they've watched your content too. I get this for my YouTube channel too, where they're like, oh, we're huge fans of your content, Red Zone Rogue. We love that you cover TCGs and gaming. Like, yeah, sure you do.
Yeah, brilliant. And you mail back saying, oh, what was your favorite video? No reply.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll just link you to the most recent one that you did.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So what was our what was that email again?
So first of all, the Living Legends podcast at gmail.com is where you can submit your thoughts, comments, and questions if you do want to email us, or just leave a comment in the section below, and we'll try and pick them out. There was a period of time where when I was actually filtering through and putting stuff into the episodes. I need to do that again, but yeah, we'll do that again next time. But this one's from Mustache Woo, who's actually emailed us before. So thanks again for popping into our mailbox. Which is always the highlights of our day, interacting with lovely members of the community. And they're saying, interesting, we spoke about demi-heroes, actually. It would be interesting if a hero starts off as a demi-hero at the beginning of the game, and then becomes the previous hero when they lose it. For example, Azalea, demi-hero with Assassin Ranger. You can only run Assassin cards, weapon and equipment, but once this breaks... the demi-hero, you can then only do certain things after that. So interesting idea where you start off as a different hero and then you transform into something else, but round the other way, basically.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
But I think it's pretty much the same thing, isn't it? Because demi-hero is basically just another version.
Yeah, you're still like transforming, just in a
different way.
Yeah, I mean, like other games that I play do that. Like the biggest example is Grand Archive. You start out as a spirit of an element, and then you level up your champion, and then you can level up to 3 times, and there's various differences and yada yada yada. So I mean, like other games do similar type things where you can like alter your persona character.
Well, yeah, wasn't there something with what was that game where you could pierce the veil? What was that one?
Oh, that's the Legions, Realms at War.
Yes, Legions Raw. Yep.
That game, by the way,
wasn't that thing? I don't know.
Yeah, they sent me a bunch of stuff early on for the first several sets, and I think the game's okay. I was pretty critical of like the art, and the gameplay. Here's a quick story. Ian and I recorded some gameplay of it, but it was like so not fun to watch that I never uploaded it. And that's because the game I comboed off and killed him on turn 2 like 4 games in a row.
Sick.
And the game basically plays like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh. So if you like that kind of stuff, if you're like a super card player, combo heavy, want to do all the things, I mean, you might like it. I mean, I had a fun time, but it was literally just 10 minutes of me like going through the combo, going through all the motions, doing infinite shenanigans, and then Ian would like counter something, and I'm like, okay, wait, let me think. Okay, I can still go on. Then I do a different thing, and I just ended up killing him. Attacked him for like like 180 damage or something, like something absurd. And it's because there are cards that let you pierce the veil early. And if I drew that card, I basically could just combo off and win. It was with the Titan deck, by the way. So yes, it was not fun to watch because it was just me flipping through cards and milling, and it's basically like playing Dredge. It really felt like playing Dredge. It's like banishing the top cards of my deck, and every time I banish a card, they do a thing, and that synergizes with what I was doing on the board, and they just feed into each other, and you just got to do it like infinitely. Not really infinitely, but anyway. So,
but basically,
yeah. I don't know what they're doing now. I haven't really covered Legions in a while, but they definitely had some balancing that they needed to sort out. Because yeah,
that was the indication that I got from. I had a couple of friends that tried out Legions, and the balancing was the main issue. That it was very easy to win on the first turn of the game very consistently.
Yeah, I had like I said, like maximum turn 2 wins like 4 or 5 games in a row. It was like every game we recorded. And the games that I didn't win that early, Ian won that early. Like if I didn't pierce the veil and I passed the turn, he would win, like in a similar fashion, just doing different things. So yeah, it's the downside of a game that lets you play all of your cards with no resources for free, just like Yu-Gi-Oh. So you had a limit. You can only play like 1 unit per turn, but there are ways to like special, like Yu-Gi-Oh, like ways to like special summon units. Yeah. Anyway, enough of that.
Resources are an important system in games, people.
Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I don't know whether that answers your question. Obviously, we went into Legion's Realms at War there, Mustache Wu, but
Canada's remaining card game.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking of something recently. I was going to make a video on it, but I just thought, nah, it's just like basically just downtime video, random thoughts one. But what if in Flesh and Blood you could choose your like you could choose your talent. So the talents that were available, if you were Azalea, you could just be like, okay, I'm going to use shadow cards. Oh, okay, I'm going to use ice cards. Or I'm going to use thunder cards, lightning cards. What if there was something like that where you could just pick any hero you want and then choose a subset of cards to build your deck with? Because I know other games do that as well. Well, like Grand Archive, you can be a fire assassin or whatever, can't you, in that game?
Yeah.
So how could it work with FAB, perhaps?
I was gonna say, if you like that, you should just play Grand Archive, because
that's why I was mentioning it.
Yeah, that's literally what Grand Archive is. Like you have your element, and then you have your champion, but your champion and your element are completely separate, except for the level 3 ones and some really fancy ones that they just spoiled, which is pretty exciting, because that enables you to have dual elements now. But yeah, you'd have your spirit of fire, wind, or water, and then you have whatever your champion is who don't have an element, and then you can mix and match. And so there's a whole bunch of different combinations. And the way the game works is that you can build your deck with any number of, well, not any number of cards, but like any element, but you can't actually play the elements unless you have it active on your champion. So like you can have situations where you gain elements throughout the course of a game, so you can play more cards. So you have to be careful about your deck building. You might have useless cards in your hand, for example, if you're not able to use those elements yet. So, but it's great. It's one of the best parts about Grand Archive. There's a lot I can say about Grand Archive, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, you could have these combinations which make deck building a little bit more fun and wacky. I don't know whether it would work in a constructed format, but maybe there's like a weird and random format for FAB that will yet to exist, where you can choose a random talent that goes with your hero, and that could be another deck building thing that you could have fun with. But yeah, all these weird and wacky ideas are always nice to hear. So again, livinglegends@gmail.com. Let us know, and we'll try and answer your questions without going on huge tangents about other games.
Not gonna happen.
We will try our best, but also that's just
we need something to compare it with.
You knew you knew what you were getting into.
You knew what you were getting into.
Yeah,
it's all your fault, Mustache Wu.
Yeah,
please email us again. We love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I do also want to just plug one final thing for myself before I pass it off to the remainder of y'all for just our sign off, because I think we're probably good to wrap up.
Yes.
But for people who are patrons of the Spike Feeders, the preview for our Ultimate Pit Fight game just went up, I believe yesterday. So, which I think means that it will be coming out either the same day that this podcast is released or the day after. So either Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember what our release schedule is for Spike Feeder stuff, but it will be coming out this week. So if you are interested in watching live action UPF gameplay with me and my friends, you should definitely go check that out, because it's been a long time coming, and the games are actually really, really fun. So yeah, I just wanted to give an actual...
You need to be a patron, though. So go and
you need to be a patron to see it right now. You need to be a patron to see it right now, but it's coming out to everybody either Wednesday or Thursday.
Nice.
So yeah, but that's my final bit of exciting news for myself. So let's kick it to reverse alphabetical order. Kel, hello.
What, me?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kel.
Prepared, were you?
Also known as Red Zone Rogue. You can find me everywhere at Red Zone Rogue. I got my passport finally. Yo, let's go.
Yes.
It finally came in.
Event, we'll see you there.
Just in time for Barcelona. Oh, wait, no.
Shit.
The funny thing is once it actually was approved, which took 7 to 9 weeks, by the way, plus extra time because I had problems with one of my documents. Fixed it, but it still took a long time because, you know, bureaucracy and all that crap. Once it was finally approved, I checked it up, because you can just check it on the federal website, and it's like, you know, it was like pending, and then it was like approved. Literally, they printed it and it arrived in my door the next day. So the shipping was fast. Wow. That was cool. Damn. It just took like 9 weeks to do everything else.
Yeah, no kidding.
So anyway, I officially have my passport. I do plan on traveling next year. I am going to be going to Japan next year. I will talk about that more when I can officially talk about it, because I'll talk about it later. But I'm going to be going to Japan next year, and I would love to potentially, as we talked about before, maybe go visit Bill or something. Yeah. So that's that. I'm Kel. How about you, Az?
How about Az? Who's Az?
Yeah, who's this guy? Who's this random bloke?
I mentioned it before the show. He's just some random dude from Swindon. I don't even know.
It doesn't have a channel or anything. It's, you know, I'm just here with these guys just because they're friends of mine, and that's it really.
We saw him at like a metal show or something, and he was like drinking out of the shoe, and we were like, "What the hell are you doing, bro?" And he's just like, "Shoeies, let's go."
Just come on to Living Legends podcast.
He's like, "Shoeies, Azalea," and we're like, "Oh, you like Flesh and Blood, huh?" No.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So who are you?
So who are you? But yeah, Go Again Gaming on YouTube. We all have Patreons as well. So if you like any of our sort of energies and vibes, then go and support us on there, because we all have those sorts of things as well, and that's all good. We don't mention that really because it's, you know, it's a little bit embarrassing sometimes, but you know, it all goes very, very far, all this. But
it does help quite a bit.
But yes. Yeah, exactly. So Go Again Gaming and Go Again Gaming AZ on the socials. I've been quite active on Twitter recently, posting all sorts of different things, as I always do. Just raw thoughts come out. That's Go Again Gaming AZ. But that's pretty much it, really. Apart from that, just loving life, fucking around, enjoying myself.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, but last and maybe potentially least, I am Bill from the Spike Feeders. As mentioned, you can find us you can find me at the Spike Feeders FAB on YouTube. You can also find me at the Spike Feeders. You will want to keep your eyes on that one, because we, as I mentioned, do have a UPF gameplay video coming up this week. As far as I'm aware, unless something happens, the preview for patrons is up. If you wanted to see it early, I don't know at this point if it is still early, but As of recording, it did go up, I believe, yesterday, which I think means that it will be coming out either Wednesday or Thursday of this week. So you should definitely check that out. If you don't want to be a patron, it'll still come out soon. You'll just have to wait a little bit longer, maybe. And you can also find me on social media at BillTSF. But yeah, this was definitely a bit of a loose one this week. But I still think we found enough to talk about to fill the time.
God,
so.
I would like to reiterate, just you all knew what you were getting into.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
This is a standard episode of the Living Legends podcast. But yeah.
Just another one as well. Just another one as well. Very briefly. Is it Spike Feeder's main channel or is it Spike Feeder's Fab?
It will be Spike Feeder's main channel for the first one. We are also going to have a second one that's released specifically on the Spike Feeder's Fab. But we're doing some cross promotion with our main channel. That LSS did specifically sponsor. It is a sponsored episode. So
nice.
Yeah. So yeah, keep an eye out on the main Spike Feeder's account that will mostly be Magic the Gathering stuff. Don't fear. It is totally fine. There will be
fun magic. It's fun magic though. It's fun magic.
It is fun magic stuff.
You
Thank you.
Nice people.
Watching your brother combo off with Najila.
Yeah. Which is funny when referencing the olden days because I used to be the Najila player back in the day. But yeah, anyway, before I get into
I was just gonna go on for a random tangent. Maybe we should
just go for it.
We should just but I was going to say is that there is still Najila the Blade Blossom, right? It's still that one.
Yeah.
It's not a different Najila. Yeah, okay.
No,
it's still the same Najila.
Same Najila.
There might be like a Universes Beyond Najila. Is there one? I don't know. I don't remember. I'm trying to think. I feel like there's like a
probably,
I feel like there's like a Universes Beyond Najila. Yeah.
It's possible that there is.
No, there is. There is. It's the Warhammer.
Yeah.
Archaeon is the UB Najila. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I used to play a cool version of Najila, and then they banned Flash, and I couldn't be the same person that I used to be. So.
Were you on like Flash Hulk? Are you doing like Flash Hulk garbage?
Yeah. It was Flash Hulk and just like various other creature-based combos. Lots of Kiki-Jiki shenanigans.
Ooh, I do like me some Kiki-Jiki.
Yeah, Pattern of Rebirth is an insane card. Big fan of that one. But yeah, anyway, with that being said, thank you everybody for listening once again. If you are still here, comment down below. What's your favorite sandwich? You like sandwiches?
Oh, dude, okay. Yeah. I'll end off. I'll just say what my favorite sandwich is real quick. This is a super quick thing. I really love grilled cheese sandwiches, and I like getting fancy with it. I love making a good croque monsieur, good like fancy grilled cheese, and I've been getting back into it in the last week or so. I've recently added Havarti into the mix, and I've been doing a little bit of like smoked turkey on it as well. So that's my. Yeah,
that's very fancy. I actually, it's very funny that you say that because I just made grilled cheese sandwiches for dinner because my girlfriend reminded me that they exist. Just very offhandedly. I was just all of a sudden I was like, oh yeah, these are really good. So we were at Costco earlier today and I picked up some because there are specific like days where you want to get fancy with it, but then also sometimes just a good old classic American cheese grilled cheese.
Oh yeah, you could I just slap on some Tillamook Sharp and I'm good to go, man. Sometimes you can just make it like that. And then like as we approach like the winter season, just a good grilled cheese and some soup is like excellent lunch. Yeah.
Absolutely. What sort of sandwich do you appreciate the most?
To be honest, like when I was hearing you both talk about fucking sandwiches, I'm just like, what on earth is going on here? It's like pure posh sandwiches coming over there.
I'm talking about an American grilled cheese, baby. There's nothing posh about that.
I will say I don't. Some people like to use mayo on the outside of their grilled cheese. I just do butter. I just do butter. But yeah.
Is that crispy?
So what is your?
Yeah, it gets that nice golden brown crispiness to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we have stuff like that over here called like a toasty. That's like just like
Toasty.
similar to what you're describing. But to be honest, sandwiches, you know, I'm just a big greasy meat eater, so I'm happy to have just fucking bacon and eggs in a sandwich.
Oh,
Yeah.
like a good
But,
breakfast sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, it's not a sandwich. It's not a sandwich, but that bagel we had in Barcelona was probably the best sort of
Yes.
bread and filling thing I've ever had. That was really nice. I'm not sure whether I captured that. Well, you got a picture of it at least, but
Yeah.
it was very nice there, to be honest.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's a good shout too. Because man, the quality of food in Barcelona was so high.
Oh, it really was.
Like that one place we went to with DM Armada. That
The
place was
breakfast place.
incredible. Yeah.
When they had the egg in the hole of my sandwich, there's
Yeah.
like an egg in the hole. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it's got an egg in the hole.
Greasy sandwiches though, exceptional. If I ever get you guys down here, we need to go to Hoagie Boys, which I think I've mentioned previously.
Yeah, man.
You have, yeah.
Let's go.
They're like high end, but like deli style, like just completely drowned in oil and vinegar.
Oh,
Like,
hey, I love me a
it's
good
so
Jersey
good.
Mike's. All right. So like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm down.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, but yeah, anyway.
Yes.
For engagement, comment your favorite sandwich down below. Thank you all so
Absolutely.
much for listening to us prattle on yet again for another episode of the Living Legends podcast. We love you all.
Mhm.
Stay well, stay safe, and we'll catch you all next week.
Toasty.
Sandwiches.
Sean!
That was a really loud Sean. Holy hell, dude.
You're flipping.
You fucking
In the
peak.
red zone.
Oh man, just peeking.
I regret nothing.